G'day, I'm Mark Latham. We've seen major corporations in Australia become very, very political, like they're social justice warriors. Well, it's time to hold them to account about the true meaning of inclusivity and tolerance. Well, if you ask the question in Australia, who's the most political corporate leader, you'd say it was this guy, wouldn't you? Alan Joyce from Qantas. He spent a huge amount of money and his own personal time and resources recently on campaigning for gay marriage in Australia, and he's all over the social justice issues. He tells us that we need to be tolerant, we need to be inclusive of people. And who's his understudy? Who's the number two social justice guy who's turned his corporation into a political outfit? Well, you'd say it was Brian Hartzer, wouldn't you? The head of Westpac, the bank that ahead of the others set up its diversity and inclusion unit. Well, wouldn't you expect these two guys, Hartzer and Joyce, to make sure that in their corporate dealings they're not endorsing intolerance, they're not endorsing bigotry, they're not signing up in partnerships with a racist? Now, wouldn't you think they'd be doing that? Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look at what they've been doing by way of corporate partnership. Here's the evidence of Alan Joyce at Qantas signing up with Junkee for the equivalent of an in-flight magazine supposedly appealing to young people called AWOL. And of course, who's one of the editors at Junkee? Osman Faruqi, this guy Osman Faruqi. And we know his form with anti-white racism. And over there at Westpac, who's signing up, paying the dollars over to Junkee corporate partnership? Well, yeah, it's Hartzer and his outfit. The Diversity and Inclusion Unit must have missed this one because they've got a financial magazine, you know, try and hook young people into handing their money over and investing at Westpac. It's called The Cusp. Here's the evidence of The Cusp and the corporate agreement between Westpac and Junkee. So how is it that Joyce and Hartzer, in these circumstances, can be signed up in partnership with Junkee and Osman Faruqi? If you need the evidence about Faruqi, let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at these shockingly anti-white racist tweets. On Australia Day 2016, he loves the debate about sunscreen. Just more evidence that white people don't belong in Australia. Really? And then on the 26th of December, he's even tweeting against white people on Boxing Day of 2016. Mediocre white people, they should be in the bin. But instead, they own everything and they're every effing where. And as a rule, he says on the 2nd of July of this year, he uses all media appearances, Osman Faruqi, to make fun of white people. Imagine we said that. Someone went on the media to make fun of black people, or brown people, or Asian people. Shocking, shocking racism. Denigrating people, not because he knows them or understands them or has had any dealings with these particular people, but solely because of their skin colour. And then, just to cap it off, on the 2nd of September this year, I'm regularly surprised at how white people freak out when you call them white people. Well, they freak out because you're an anti-white racist, Faruqi. That's why they freak out and they don't like this stuff. So how is it that we've copped all these lectures off Joyce at Qantas and Hartzer at Westpac, and it ends up they're in corporate partnership with someone peddling racism in Australia? It's just unbelievable. Isn't it? Why have we got to cop all these sanctimonious, pious lectures about our morality when these guys are dealing with the dollars, dealing the dollars over to Junkee and Osman Faruqi? Now, of course, if Faruqi was in charge of Qantas, he wouldn't let white people on the planes. He'd make them walk. If Faruqi was in charge of Westpac, no loans or financial arrangements with white people, they can go live in the poorhouse. And it goes beyond that. You know, you've got all these government outfits now with their statements against racial discrimination. Well, there's 3 government organisations that have actually sponsored articles on Junkee, edited by Osman Faruqi, one of their editors. Here they are: the National Gallery of Australia, the Australian National University, and New South Wales TAFE, based in Western Sydney, sponsored articles, Junkee, where one of the editors is this anti-white racist Osman Faruqi. Well, this stuff, you know, please, someone pass me a bucket, pass me the spew bag from an aeroplane, Alan Joyce. How are we going to cop this sort of hypocrisy? It's just absolutely disgraceful that this guy, Faruqi, gets away with the anti-white racism. I've stood up to him. We know the case of lawfare. It's absolutely shameful. Well, even worse is the hypocrisy of the social justice warriors parading their morality around, making statements, running campaigns, nothing to do with their core business or the financial interests of their owners, It's all virtue signalling out there in the corporate sector, and it's a big stinking pile of hypocrisy. I'm not putting up with it any longer. We're going to hold these people to account. If they want to lecture us about inclusivity and tolerance, well, how about they break their arrangements with Faruqi instead of dealing in a corporate partnership with anti-white racism? Absolutely shameful. And if you like that video, please share it with all your family and friends on social media, and sign up, subscribe and support our Mark Latham programs, the show, the videos, all the Rebel Media content at TheRebel.media/shows. TheRebel.media/shows.